Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today it is not 100 degrees like it was the other day. It's only about 85. So it's cool enough in the shop that we can finish putting the wide body kit on the 190E. Today I'm gonna finish mock fitting it. I'm gonna trim the fenders and I'm gonna address the spoiler too, because I know some people had some comments about that. By the time you watch this video, this car will be off to the body shop and hopefully in paint and back, so it'll only be about a week before you see it finished. Also today we're gonna work on the front end of the Continental GT build that we're doing the GT3 style build on. And I might have gotten scammed on some body components, so we'll talk about that too. I got the body kit and the wing from the same company. They weren't part of one kit, they were different. And I'm pretty sure they're different manufacturers because the wide body kit itself actually fit pretty well. With these fiberglass components, there's always finish work that needs to be done. There's always a lot of body work that needs to be done on them. The body kit itself doesn't need much, if any. In fact, since I'm painting it white, I'll probably just leave it as it is. But this wing is sagging bad. When I got it out of the box, it wasn't. We put it on the car, and over the last couple of days, it's just drooping. So I did reach out to the company. I'm gonna see if they can replace it, because even though I've got great body guys, I don't think this wing is usable at all. It is just too warped. So for what it would take to make it work, it doesn't make sense. So hopefully they'll get back to me within the next day or so and get me a replacement wing that doesn't have a big droop in the middle of it. Although I did buy the cheapest parts I could possibly find, so I may be stuck with it. We'll find out. I want to finish the body kit on this side. I just need your help to help me put a couple of the panels in place, put a couple of screws through, and then I can take care of the rest. I think it's enough to get me started there. I just have it set on here. Okay. I have no idea how we're going to attach it. I mean, there's nothing, there's no edges. Maybe some panel bond adhesive there.
Probably.
And then in the middle of the windshield, we'll do move over backwards with an arrow.
Oh gosh, I love that. I love all the owners who drive around in Washington to death.
So speaking of this high quality wing, so this wing is held on with 4 bolts that are 6mm, and they're only about an inch long. There's probably a 1/4 inch that goes into the wing. It's just threaded into the fiberglass. There's no sort of insert in there. So what I'm gonna do is take the wing back off. I'm gonna take this threaded rod, which is the same size. I'm gonna cut it down. I'm going to thread it in as far as I can, and I'm gonna use body panel adhesive that works on metal and fiberglass to set this in there. And then I have double back tape on the body. And so what I'll do is I'll peel the double back tape off. I'll feed this through the holes, which will be easier than trying to put a bolt back up through, and then nut it on the underside. And that will hold it much more securely than what's there now. I was planning on doing that today, but we gotta wait to hear back on what they want to do with the wings. So there's a couple of side moldings I'm missing on the car. One right here on the other side in the back corner, and then on the front fender. So I'll have to order those before body shop does their thing so that they can get painted underneath. I kind of lost my rhythm because I took a couple of days off. Essentially, I'm just rough fitting these right now. I'm only using the screws. I'm not using the rib nuts yet for 2 reasons. One is once I take it to the body shop, they're gonna do all the final fitment and the gaps and everything to make sure that it's all good. So that like when we open the door, it's not rubbing. Also, if they need to move the panel at all, if I have the rib nut in there, that's gonna require quite a bit of work. Whereas if I just leave the sheet metal screws, they can easily move everything, and then once it's done and it's painted and everything's placed where it is, then I'll go back through, I'll drill a little bit larger hole, and I'll use the rib nuts then. That'll give it a cleaner fit. Right now, we're just getting it on the car, getting a rough fit. The professionals are gonna handle the rest. Well, for the sponsored segment of our video, carsponsors.com and bodykits.com set us up with these awesome Euro lights and clear marker lights. Gonna look a whole lot better on this car than these nasty 2-piece lights. Give it a more Euro look. Bodykits.com, I got the lights from. Ironically, I did not get the body kit for this car because they didn't offer them, but I really like these and they're gonna look great on the car. Different wiring. Interesting. Didn't know they were wired different. Let's see what we can do here. So these headlights have a 5-pin wire and my car has a 4-pin. That must be the difference between the Euro and the American, and this plug won't actually even fit on here. So that's gonna be a Steve thing. I'm gonna fit the headlights for now. He can go back through later and wire them. Much better.
Oh, that's the new one.
That's the new one, yeah. So this thing we can just do away with it. I'll have to have you go back through and wire these later because the headlights I'm putting in have a 5-wire plug and ours has a 4-wire plug, and the plug won't actually go on. So I might have to buy a pigtail to work. While I do this, do you want to do the rodeo on the SL?
Oh, all right. Let's see.
That'll be fun. ABC suspensions or active body control is very difficult to fix on the 03 to 06 Mercedes, but Steve's a master at it, and we've got an SL55, which is my old car, a customer bought for me. Steve just fixed that. We just need to bleed the system out, so that'll be fun little entertainment.
Without going into a very boring lecture about how hydraulic suspension systems work, this is the pump that basically does all the work. Whole network of valves, a control unit, dampeners, pressure sensors. Well, obviously it had some problems. We replaced some parts. And now we're going to do one of the processes to bleed the air out, because you got to bleed it just like you bleed everything else. Basically, it's just going to test the ability to squat at all wheels and act like you're basically making a turn. Basically, you run that test, and that, obviously pressurizes the system. It checks how well the valves can move, how well your solenoid blocks work.
All right, so the body kit is fully installed. I'm leaving the cutting of the fender wells for the professionals at the body shop. The reason being is I don't want to take too much off. My tools I have here, I'd be cutting it with a Sawzall. I'd like something a little more precision. I don't want to cause them extra work. So this car is all together. The only thing we're going to wait on is waiting to hear on the rear spoiler. Also on the mirrors, these cars from the factory had a long mirror on the driver's side and a short mirror on the passenger side. I'm going to see if I can find a match set just to give it a little more positive look. It's off to the body shop, it'll come back, then reassemble the body kit again because the body kit will be off it for paint. And then once that's back on, we'll measure for the wheels, we'll put the lowering springs on it, we'll take care of the mechanicals, and then we'll start on the interior. By the time we're done making the interior race car, that should give us enough time for the paint to off gas and then do our wraps. So I'm really excited about that. This is kind of a mess. The headlights are just sitting in there. They're not mounted, they're not plugged in, they're just sitting there. I don't know how they mount. Got the air conditioning hoses. I would like to get those on, and the new receiver dryer there. I've got all that. I'd like to get those on. I would also like to try and get the intercoolers back on and then fit the new bumper cover. Well, I don't mind taking things back apart. I just want to make progress on the cosmetics. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look for the proper complete grill shell and spend the $1,200 or $1,300 and put it on.
There's no used ones out there?
There are, that's used.
Oh.
That's used. Did manage to find the correct supports for the grill though that are right here. So these go on. Luckily the hood I bought, there's different hoods too depending on the different grills. Luckily, by fluke, the hood that I bought is correct for this VIN number of car. So we got lucky there. I'm learning. These cars are drastically expensive. Oh, I also priced out the windshield. We thought the Aston windshield was expensive at $5 grand. Anybody care to take a guess how much this windshield is for this car? Not including shipping, $8,300 wholesale. I also need a back glass, which is almost the same. So what I'm thinking about doing is getting on Copart and seeing if I can find one with the proper damage that I can get for nothing, that the glass is not broken. And then hopefully we can get the glass out without breaking it. This is gonna be my daily driver. This car with all its graphics and everything, speaking of which, the graphics, if you pause real quick, you can see it. This is gonna be my daily driver with the wing, with that body kit, with everything. I'm driving this with all the graphics. It's gonna be obnoxious as hell, and I'm gonna love it. Speaking of the body kit, I was originally gonna do the GT3. We've shown the mock-ups of the body kit. There was only one company out there that I found that did the body kit that I wanted, that had the wide fender flares and the wide side skirts and everything, and the big wing on the back. I found it on eBay, and I was going through WhatsApp with that person back and forth. They wanted to talk through WhatsApp, and then one night I was drinking and they caught me and got me to do the deposit on it, which was a couple grand on the 6,000 plus shipping body kit. Well, that has been about 6 months ago now, and I cannot get a hold of them. Their WhatsApp number is discontinued or disconnected, and their eBay page is gone. So I did a no-no. I did not go through eBay to make the deposit on the payment. I'm just kind of f***ed on that. I'm working with my credit card company right now to see if we can do something with that, but I think I'm just gonna be SOL and I got scammed. Now here's the worst part about that. Daily Driven Exotics is working on a GT3 body kit, and I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to those videos. Well, I went back through the other night and I saw where Dave was talking about this guy that was scamming people on GT3 body kits, and he actually had his number and called him. The guy scammed a bunch of people. The country he's located in, I'm pretty sure I got scammed by the same guy. Lesson learned, right?
You know, I get people trying to scam people to like make money, like, hey, I got this course, you'll make $1 million if you buy my course, but it's like, you're scamming people out of car parts, come on.
Yeah. There's several other body kits out there. I didn't like any of them completely, but I did find one that I like, the AF1. I've got the front bumper cover for, the side skirts from, and the rear bumper cover. I really like those. It's just not the wide body I was after. But I think that going with the big wing on the back with those and the right wheels and the right graphics, we'll still get that GT3 feel. So I'm okay with that. A little disappointed, but I do like these, and it's a good second choice. You know, speaking of the cars, I'm supposed to sell the Aston Martin, and here's a test of whether my wife's actually watching these videos or not. I'm gonna keep the Aston Martin. If she's watching, I'm not gonna keep the Aston Martin.
We'll see. We'll see.
Sometime later.
I was initially supposed to kind of get some AC lines on, try to see if I could refit some power steering lines to a new cooler. But upon closer inspection, like to the details, there's going to have to be some body work that's going to have to pull one of these brackets out because it's completely crushed in. So those parts aren't going to fit until that gets done. This is where the Bentley comes in. To replace several of those hoses is pretty extensive. Like the hose one of the hoses is like this one. So basically it's going to go from the receiver dryer up here into what I believe is going to be the back of the compressor. I can't see, but that's the thing is I can't see. So in order to do this, this is pretty much going to be a complete front end off or engine out. Once you enter into either exotic territory or high luxury territory, the engine bay is packed with all this technology and all these cylinders. When it's time to repair something, it may look like a hose, but it might take a while. I hate to break that news to them, but it looks like we don't have some of the hoses. But what I can say is that I don't think the bumper's going on today. But obviously, I'll let Jason make that decision, and we'll kind of go from there. So to do most of these AC hoses, it's either going to be complete front end off or engine out. All these hoses run into the compressor.
Sorry.
Way up in here. So you can't see that from the top, you can't see that from the bottom. We might be able to take the front off and see it, but it's not very likely.
This sucks a lot. Big setback. Big setback.
Ooh, you should put giant bees on the intercooler. They're gonna shine through the bumper.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I just realized that. It's gonna show.
All right, well, at least here's a mock-up of what we're looking at here otherwise. Not bad. It's just mocked up, and people are gonna comment and say, oh, it's all out of line, all shitty. It's just kind of sitting here. It's not attached. Obviously, we've got to go back through and do more work. We're gonna have to pull the front end off, see if we can access the AC lines, get all that straightened out. Then we can put our reinforcement back on, and then we can do the bumper. Let's just do it one time instead of doing it and taking it off and having things shifted. So that's it. Side skirts will be here next week, rear bumper the week after, and then I'm still got to decide on how obnoxious of a spoiler I'm gonna put on this. Next time we see you guys, that'll be in paint. We'll have the rest of the parts for this and hopefully be able to continue with this. We seem to keep getting stalled out on this Bentley project. Parts are expensive, parts are hard to come by, but we are determined we're gonna get it done. Thanks for sticking with us, and as Antonio would say, don't forget to like, share.
Donate. Hear me out, hear me out. Instead of bees on the intercooler because of where they're gonna sit, why don't we get pictures of Antonio? like in these little areas right here that'll be on the intercooler. So like it will, like you can see the intercooler and he'll be there like looking at you, like longingly, lovingly.
Well, I was actually thinking we could get some cellophane pictures of him and put them on the headlights so that Antonio would be projected in our headlights everywhere we go.
That would, no, I'm sure that that's like against the FAA rules or something.
I don't know. I love this car. It's coming together. This is going to be a crazy build. And again, if you want to see the mock-up of what it's going to look like, hit pause quick.